Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of the PrincipalED Podcast, Season 2. I'm your host, Grace McCullum, and I am so excited to have some incredible guests with us today. None other than our innovation team. It's such an honor to have you with me today. Thank you so much for taking the time. We're welcoming Megan McKellar, our Director of Curriculum and Innovation, K-12, and Instructional Leader in Design. Coulter Lewis, Senior and Middle School Innovation and Technology Coordinator, Isabella Liu, our Junior School Innovation and Technology Coordinator, and Tibor Torrentali, our Metal and Woodworking, that could work though, our Woodworking Shop Coordinator. Really looking forward to the conversation. We're coming to you today in a little bit of a different format for a couple of reasons, but today we are doing kind of like a Zoom-ish media today. And you'll see that I have if you're watching the podcast today, we have some interesting choices of what we're wearing. So I look a little crazy today because I'm wearing a really loud onesie. I'm wearing my holiday onesie because it's holiday PJ day at school. And anyone else wearing PJs, or am I the only one on the, okay, good. We've got Isabella, Megan, and I see that we've got Tibor and Coulter who are uber professional today. I love it. We've got a mix. We also have a little bit of a co-host today because we're doing this from my dining room. Here is our co-host, Maggie May McCullum. Maggie, say hello. She can't. She's too shy. We'll put her back down. But she's here. So if you hear any puppy noises, it's because I've got my sweet pup today as my co-host. Welcome to the podcast, everyone.
Thanks. Thank you for having us join you today.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And I think this is a topic that with our iCAST building coming online very soon, it's such a timely topic. I wanted to start actually some questions with you today, Megan. Would that be okay if I put you in the hot seat first?
Absolutely. I'm ready.
I knew you would be. Fantastic. The Karen L. Jurjevich Innovation Center and Studio Theater, it's the official name of this building, named after our incredible, groundbreaking previous principal, Karen Jurjevich. And the building is known other as the iCAST. It's kind of what we affectionately call it, opening in 2026. We've talked a lot about this building, Megan. We've talked about how groundbreaking it is, how it's one of the only spaces of its kind in a K-12 space in Canada. And the whole purpose of this is to really, truly, with great authenticity, spark interdisciplinary learning and uniting the arts with innovation in a way that feels truly authentic for our students. So, Megan, as the Director of Curriculum and Innovation, how do you think iCAST represents this leap forward in pedagogical vision from K-12?
Absolutely.
Big question to start us off.
Big question to start off with. Thank you so much, Grace. I appreciate the question. And it really is timely. And we're all so excited to have the building open and be able to get in there. And I think if I could just take a step back for a moment and reflect on my time as the Innovation and Technology Coordinator in the junior school. And I was part of the team that oversaw the renovations for our junior school iHub and transitioning that space from a maker space and thinking about what are all the different aspects of innovation that we want to highlight within this space. And it was a really exciting time for our junior school students. And I've seen what an amazing impact that has had on our youngest learners. And, looking at this building of such scale and such exciting technology, I can only imagine the opportunities that we'll have for all of our girls within that space. I think really you hit on one of the main themes, which is the interdisciplinary learning. And the building truly was designed from the ground up to highlight that interconnectivity that we see in the world outside of K-12, that subjects don't live within specific silos, but they complement one another. To give the example of the shops, the design space, and the robotics arena and the pitch space, you might have students looking at science, design, and geography and thinking about how to design low-cost portable portable shelters in a disaster relief situation. And students might prototype their designs in a team in the design space. Then they might go into the shops to create a prototype. Then they might add perhaps some robotics elements to it, maybe thinking about drones used for disaster relief, and then pitch their ideas in the pitch space. So really those spaces are intentionally designed to complement one another, so that we really do have a cohesive experience for our students.
Yeah.
And I think that you've said this before, that while the facility truly is cutting edge and is groundbreaking for our school, the building itself doesn't make us innovative. And it really is the teachers and the expertise that they bring to the program and to bring it to life. And we really want to highlight the development of skills for our students, and, hearing feedback and being able to reflect and accept that and, fail forward, and being able to communicate their ideas with conviction. And those skills are really what I think will be elevated within this building through our fantastic faculty, as well as the equipment in the spaces.
So well said, Megan. And,
Thank you.
one of the reasons I always wanted to come to Branksome was because Branksome is always known for being cutting edge, for really being ahead of the game, really be forward thinking. And when we look at how some of the best colleges and universities are preparing students for the world, they're doing this too. They're breaking down silos. They're being really intentional about how interdisciplinary learning comes together, because that's how the real world works. Our girls aren't going to be going into industries where their teams are going to be asking them to solve a problem only within, let's say, a math lens. They're going to have to use lots and lots of different kinds of thinking to really address complex problems. So I love how you've said that. We had parents here yesterday morning for a breakfast, which we do often it's just nice to have parents over. I always have them in my home. I love that. Having parents over and really using it as an opportunity to talk about what we're doing. And some of the questions, which were excellent questions, were, what is this really going to look like on the ground? We understand the big idea of it, but what is it actually going to look like in practice? How are we maximizing the integration of this space to make sure that we're achieving our goal? Do you have any, maybe just a couple? We have some fun examples, especially of that proximity learning between big sister, little sister, but I'll let you speak a little bit more to that, Megan. What could you maybe add some color to that? Because I know that's a question that's on people's minds.
Absolutely. Well, first, I want to recognize the work of our innovation coordinators that are on the call, because they are the ones working closely with our faculty and our employees on building capacity to leverage these spaces. I think the idea of bringing our youngest learners and our oldest learners together is so powerful for building community. And one of the wonderful examples that we have is within our grade 10 product design program. And Tibor actually teaches this course, so he might be able to add a little bit to it, or a lot to it. But essentially what the students in grade 10 are doing is using our youngest learners in junior kindergarten as clients to design educational toys that meet a specific need. And, if you ever want some really, direct advice, you go to the youngest learner. And it really has been wonderful too. And I witnessed seeing some of our older students really, grapple with that feedback and think about how to work with our youngest learner, because they really are their client. And I think this is a great example of somewhere where I can see the iCAST building really supporting our needs as a school, in that our students have ideas for products that they want to create, but the spaces and the technology available to them will come with the iCAST building. So as a practical example, there was one student who wanted to design a doll in a certain way, and this required the use of a wood shop because they wanted to make it out of wood. So we're really excited for that project to continue to grow, that collaboration, and for our youngest learners to experience the building in a way that's age and stage appropriate, but also for our older students to be able to leverage the advanced technologies in the development and bringing to life of their amazing ideas.
Yeah, we want them to have the confidence to do that. And we also want them to have the confidence of being able to hear no or hear direct feedback and not take it personally, but take it as a practiced part of being an innovator, of having an innovator's mindset, of using a design cycle. And you're absolutely right, Megan. There is no one better to start you off with that feedback than a junior school student. They will give you some clear feedback.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. That is, it was just wonderful to kind of hear. I think our audience will really appreciate kind of hearing what's going to be happening on the ground and what are the big goals with this. So Isabella and Coulter, our vision for innovation really starts all the way back very intentionally in JK, all the way up to grade 12. And I would love to hear you talk about, with respect to your respective divisional iHubs, which are such a central part of the junior school and the senior middle school. And I think some people have asked, oh, will the iHubs be dissolved because now we have this massive new facility? No, they will not be dissolved. They will certainly be alive and well. They're such a hub of activity. I'd love to hear you talk about the divisional iHubs. And I would love to hear, how do you both collaborate to make sure that we really have that cohesive, aligned skill set development from JK to grade 12?
Yeah, thank you so much, Grace. I'll start us off, Coulter, because of junior school. I very much see the junior school as such a critical point in our students' innovation journey, as we're really truly laying down the foundation for them to become interdisciplinary learners. And to do that, we essentially integrate the design thinking launch cycle as part of their primary year's program inquiry cycle. And it lends itself really well because our space in the iHub is not only just an incubator for all those skills that they're going to have to need to become successful when they graduate junior school, but also as a catalyst for them to think greater. The sky's the limit. I always like to tell them that we are here to make their ideas come true. And that is through digital fabrication, through analog fabrication. And so in the iHub is really for them to fine tune what those foundational skills are and asking insightful questions, taking feedback, really iterating. And all of those things are so essential because we are trying to get our students to understand that we are focusing on the process rather than the product. And if they're bringing all those lens in as they graduate from junior school, I truly believe that that is what's going to make them successful in middle school, senior school, but also even beyond Branksome. One thing that Coulter and I do really well is that not only do our experiences some might overlap, myself coming from a high school lens, I can kind of anticipate the skills that our students would need in terms of tackling a greater breadth and depth of discipline when they graduate junior school. And we also have a really great leader. We have Megan McKellar as kind of, our captain on the ship, really guiding that vision where we're having regular meetings to really ensure that we are not overlapping in terms of what we're teaching, but we're really, every time we're spiraling into a skill, we're really going in depth. We're reminding our students about something that they've learned previously, but we're diving even deeper. How can we be better in terms of this one skill set? So for example, take 3D printing. Our grade 1 students are just learning how to 3D print, but orienting themselves in a 3-dimensional manner. It's not something that even adults can master. And so whenever we try to reintroduce this skill, we kind of just layer on a little bit more. So we started off with some pre-designed templates for our grade 1s. And then in our grade 2s, we give them a little bit more in terms of merging the shapes together. Grade 3, we're giving them that opportunity to design their own shapes. And then so on and so forth. And I know that Coulter is also developing that skill where we're essentially transferring them out of a junior school level app into something that is industry level. And so, those are some of the things that we're essentially trying to give them a taste of what the real world is like. So then when they're seeing industry level apps or even software, they're not overwhelmed. And that learning curve is not nearly as daunting as other students would have experienced.
Yeah, I love that, Isabella. I love that so much because especially when you say it's about the process, not the product. And then what you're really talking about that I know Coulter is going to build on is this is scaffolding. We're scaffolding based on age and stage, what's appropriate in their development. That's just, it's really exciting to hear. Coulter, why don't you build onto that, speaking of scaffolding and age and stage, and tell us a little bit about that cohesiveness up into the middle school and senior school.
Yeah, what's really nice actually is Isabella and I have kind of switched roles. I was originally in the elementary school, and now I'm in the high school. So we have, or the senior middle school. So we have a nice understanding of where each of us are coming from. And I think it's been great. As a new employee here at Branksome, it's been great and a really nice transition to have the support from Isabella and Megan and Mr. T, along with other colleagues as well, to really highlight.
Wait, Coulter, I'm so sorry. Did you call him Mr. T? Is this your nickname and I'm not aware that we have a Mr. T?
It's totally okay, yes.
I love it. Oh my gosh, Mr. T in the house. Okay, Tibor, from here on out, I'm only calling you Mr. T. That's the best name at Branksome. Love it.
Good.
Sorry, Coulter. I just didn't know. I think it's great. Mr. T. Okay, go ahead, Coulter. Sorry.
Not a problem. So, just building on the cohesiveness that we've built in our time together, it's been great to see how students are entering the senior and middle school with these skill sets already in place. The innovation skill sets, the approaches to learning, the ability to think and self-manage is really highlighted when they enter into the middle and senior school. They even have a lot of entrepreneurial skill sets that they're working through and design thinking. So when they get into the middle school and senior school iHubs that we run here, they're able to hit the ground running and start using a little bit more of complex and deeper challenges and to solve problems with. So things like Isabella just said that they're building in 3D printing, we bring in a new program that is a bit more real world applicable and we'll say industry standard, but essentially it's something where it's a bit more challenging, but they're already got the skill sets to go into this program and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes and feel comfortable with making those mistakes because they've had a few years of this this welcoming and encouraging environment in the primary school. So when they get to us, they're really hitting the ground running and flourishing.
Yeah. That's so great to hear. And I think, it really comes down to what you're highlighting is the why. Why are we doing this? And we look at, at Branksome, we're always doing our best. Research changes all the time. Stats change all the time, but we're trying to stay ahead of that. And, the Future Skills Center and the Conference Board of Canada, they estimate that in the next decade, 9 out of 10 jobs in Canada will require digital skills. Yet, as of 2 years ago, only 54% of workers coming up into industry possessed those skills. So what we're talking about are those skill sets that we want to make sure that these girls are not part of that skills gap in Canada. It's closing, I think, but we certainly want to be participating in leading the closing of that gap. And then I think what we're also talking about are those underpinning skills that end up being so critical to someone's success in any industry, whether our students decide to go into an innovative industry, a design industry, science, math, technology, engineering, or not. They're going to need the skills that are underpinning this. And, I was at international schools for a long time before coming to Branksome. And in some countries I was, at a boardroom table with men and women. And in other countries, it was mostly that I was there with men, wonderful men. But what I've learned is it's not enough. You can't just have the hard skills. You can't, I wish it was enough to be knowledgeable. I wish it was enough to be competent. But what we're doing with these girls through these hard skills is building what's also needed, which is being able to speak about their ideas with conviction, being able to express their opinions with confidence, having experience with challenge, having experience with resilience. That is really what's needed to be competitive. So I love what you are doing and how you're really fostering that through the iHub. It's magical.
Thank you.
And I think
like to see that as well.
Yeah, I'm sure you get to see it every day. You get to see it every day.
The little sparkles.
Yeah, that sparkle when you see an idea get to come to life. Well, my next question is for you, Tibor. Not Tibor. How dare I? Mr. T. Mr. T, I want to talk to you about the importance of tangible skills. In your role as our metal and woodworking shop coordinator, it's vital for hands-on learning, for that building of confidence of skill sets that we talked about, and really that physical realization of ideas when our girls are bringing prototypes to life. In a world that's increasingly focused on digital tools, virtual reality, AI, tell us about how those traditional fabrication skills, safety, the ability to work with tangible materials like metal and wood, how do they remain a core and powerful, necessary component of the overall innovation process?
Okay, well, I'll speak to AI first. It's embedding itself everywhere in our world, and we feel it coming into education as well. So it's
Yeah,
even
just
more,
a little.
yeah, it's even more important now for the girls to experience a connection between the mind and the physical self,
Yeah.
especially when they're developing or designing projects. And they have to be able to experience that before they move into a world that is constantly changing and moving into more of a digital realm. So it's important for them because what I've seen is that when you build tangible or measurable skills, it's transformative. It really can change the person. And they do this in the iCAST, or they will do this in the iCAST better than in any other classroom. That being said, I've seen students walk away from a design or a project, and they've built greater confidence or agency and a greater capacity to deal with challenges and predicaments. Essentially, failure to them has almost zero negative impact after they've gone through this process. That being said, our approach in iCAST is very much like an engineering lab. It's Branksome Hall engineering, and it will be very much 2-to-1 with the teacher with a safety mindset. We have to approach it that way. There is no other way. And this will be identical from K to 12 onwards.
I think that's incredible. And I think something that is so exciting to me, and I know so it's exciting for our families about the iCAST, is the fact that it's not STEM, it's STEAM.
Yeah.
And that we're really bringing in the arts in many ways, in performing arts, in visual arts. I mean, certainly music will have a part in here as well as we look at our media lab. I would love to hear it, Tibor, like that must be exciting to you, the fact that this is all connected. The work that you're going to be doing is connected to design, but also our students who are really fascinated by the arts, this is going to be a place for them to flourish and find that interconnectivity with innovation.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
Grace, fun fact. I was just going to say, Tibor himself is a musician. Just fun fact.
Oh, of course he is. He's
Yes.
look at that, Mr. T of all trades.
Yes.
I have an arts background, but really, I guess the way we're going to present it with iCAST and the way Branksome Hall will present it is it's very similar. There's a certain moment where science or math meets art. We see it in nature, and we see it in form and aesthetics and all of our designs. I think somebody mentioned to me that it's not going to be a building, or the shops won't be singular in the sense that just shop programs will run through there. No, we'll have a lot of different classes running through there from kindergarten right to grade 12. And of course, arts will have a big part of that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, having an arts background.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
think
want
it's
to
just going to
speak
be
to?
amazing.
Sorry to interrupt. Did you want to speak to, Tibor, the Foley floor, bringing film and the shops and those pieces together?
Yeah, the fact that we'll have a studio there, and already our girls make their own films, incredible stuff that I've seen. They like to do sound effects in a traditional way with Foley artists that actually mimic the sound that you'll see on screen. So one of the projects that we're looking forward to is for the girls to build their own Foley floor, which will have different stages of objects that can recreate the sound that they'll have in their film. To be able to do this and to have them experience that in their secondary years is going to be something very special that they'll probably remember when they're in their university dorm or something, and they'll remember the Foley floor. I think that is a great example, but I think we're going to have many of these moments that the girls will experience.
Now, Mr. T, for some of our listeners who might not know what a Foley floor is, can you explain that for us? What's a Foley floor?
Yeah, so it's basically a set of wooden platforms that sit on the floor of a studio or a building, and within that floor, you'll have different objects that can make the sound of what the artist is doing on the film. So here's an example. So if somebody is, let's say there's a chase scene or something, and somebody's climbing over a steel roof, like a barn or something, and they're sliding down that barn. So you're hearing this sound of a person sliding down. In order for somebody to record that, you would have to have all these recording people up there that with different microphones trying to get this sound. It's far greater to simulate, or far easier to simulate it, if you have something on the Foley floor, maybe positioned in a certain way, and you slide an object down that simulates that sound. And in
I
fact,
see.
we've gotten used to hearing sounds that are made with something else other than what you normally would think. So a door creaking might be a separate sort of machine that creates a creaking noise. So we've actually done that this year with the girls in the arts class.
So cool. Thank you, Mr. Teeks. I think some
You're
of
welcome.
our listeners might be curious about what that was. And that's great. And that Foley floor is living as well in our amazing new theater that's going to be opening with the
Yeah.
building. And people are so excited about this theater. And spoiler alert, we're going to be having our arts team as well on the podcast in the new year to tell us all about, just as you are with innovation, what's happening with the arts and how is it being connected, and what are some of the really incredible things we're going to see in this high-tech, one-of-a-kind theater. Okay, well, the next question is really for the whole team, I guess. It's about the program impact. That's what we are really focused on, is what is the impact? Why are we building this massive new facility? Why have we created this incredible team of people? It's because we want to see the impact on our students. So beyond the physical space, Branksome has run signature programs. We have our Noodle program, which is our business incubator. We have our new Slingshot Innovation Academy, which includes a venture lab and an AI lab. How will this new state-of-the-art resource, this amazing new facility, iCAST, alongside our current facilities, just like the of course, iHubs that we talked about, the Sensed Family STEAM Studio, how will it amplify these programs?
Yeah, what a great question. So, one way that I like to think about the innovation ecosystem, let's call it, at our school, is that the iCAST is the center spoke, and then we have the satellite spaces that support the bigger picture of what makes innovation at Branksome Hall. And I'll let the rest of the team kind of speak to that. I'll highlight a little bit about our Noodle program, which runs from grade 4 through to grade 12. And I'll talk about, some of the really exciting changes that we have coming to Noodle next year. And first of all, big shout out to Heather McDonald, who has been coordinating the Noodle program for many years and has brought it to a point where we have so many young women running successful businesses and loving what they do. And the program has grown so exponentially. But with exponential growth comes time for reflection and iteration and how we can continue to evolve. And so some of the exciting changes that are going to come to our Noodle launch program is to switch to an every week cadence. And with that every week, we're not just adding more time for our students, we're leveling up the expertise. So we're going to be really leveraging the knowledge of our entrepreneurs and residents that we have worked for many years and are looking to expand through our experts in residence program, and having them really be the lead facilitators for our girls, and supporting their understanding in the development of their businesses,
Right.
and taking them to the next level. And then in the second week, still continuing to work with those experts, but perhaps bringing in our alumni community, or bringing in older students to work with perhaps our Noodle junior students, focusing more closely on a specified topic. So if the bigger topic is looking at channels, perhaps the next week they're looking at digital marketing, or they're looking at sales, and really honing in to improve and continue to grow their businesses. In terms of the spaces itself, Heather McDonald is always saying to me, I can't wait to have Noodle HQ. I can't wait to have those pitch spaces, and really just provide a home for Noodle. And I think what's really exciting about the iCAST building is it is a physical connector between the junior school and the middle and senior school. And this Noodle
Yes.
headquarters provides a space for our junior program and our senior and middle program to unite together as one, and to share that learning and expertise. And I think the pitch spaces, we're also reevaluating our understanding of what is a Branksome business, and having students pitch their ideas, receive that feedback in the pitch space is going to be incredible. And also as an opportunity we've had something called Ask Me Anything sessions in partnership with York University, which is entrepreneurs that come in and speak with our students. And we see a huge opportunity to expand that knowledge and expertise for our students through our alumni network, through our experts in residence, our entrepreneurs in residence, and really provide a home for this beautiful program that we've grown.
So
and
special. So special.
Yeah, it's so special. It's so special. But I'll turn it. I don't know if Isabella wants to speak a little bit to the Noodle Junior piece.
Absolutely. Similarly, I think as a reflection of how successful the Noodle program is in senior middle school, there has been a really big appetite for our junior school students to start learning about these different entrepreneur thinking, so that they can actually start building a little mini business. So starting from grade 4, we have our Introduction to Noodle Junior program, where we're essentially giving our students the idea that they can actually solve some real world problems through these weekly design sprint challenges. So one week could be, how do we have access to clean water when we're backcountry camping? Another week could be, how do we ensure that our heat is actually properly insulated within a building? So all of those things that they could sort of tangibly solve within a very short amount of time, to essentially get them again through that prototyping, iterating, getting feedback, all within that space. And then with our longer program for our Noodle Junior students, grades 5 and 6, we're essentially bringing them through starting the backbone of what a company looks like. So what does your mission, vision, values are? What is a problem that you're trying to solve? How do you articulate that problem? And what does that prototype look like? So really building that heart and brain of their company. And one thing that I've noticed last year is when we invited those Noodle Company girls to come in to speak with our junior school students, it really had a profound impact on having them reframe how their company, what the company's success could look like. What does collaboration with your co-founders look like? And so I'm really excited for our junior school students to have access to that in our Noodle headquarters, where they can actually learn with our big sisters, our successful Noodle companies, and also hear from entrepreneurs in the field, listening to how they're solving problems in their own capacity, so that they're not feeling like, because we are separated by that road. Sometimes it feels very far and wide. So having that space where they can learn from experts and not just hearing from one facilitator is actually so important for them. And I'm really excited for them to also have access to the pitch space, where they can really truly articulate their vision with conviction, as you mentioned. Yeah.
I think what I've heard from both of you a lot is it bringing people in. It sounds like we're building a really nice community, and having people get access to our students, and giving our students an opportunity to work with our community members. And I think the iCAST is going to provide a space for that.
I think you're absolutely right. I hope that's the dream that's certainly coming to fruition before our eyes. I want to just pause on the experts in residence program, because I've said a lot that the building, we are so grateful for this building. It's a game changer for these girls. It's a game changer for Branksome. It's a game changer for education. But as you said earlier, Megan, I'm glad that message is resonating. It's not the building alone that will make us innovative. It's us, it's the people, it's how we are approaching this, and how we're really seeing this as an opportunity to be groundbreaking and how we approach this. one of the things that I'm so excited about is the residents and experts in residence program. And, it's funny, we have a lot of experts in residence. Our teachers are our first experts in residence. They are all experts. But what we mean when we say experts in residence is that we're bringing industry experts from multiple various industries, some opportunities to bring people in from jobs that our students have never even heard of before. So it's really industry experts. Our teachers are the number one experts in the building, but they're industry experts that we're going to bring in. And we're not just bringing them in as guest speakers. That's very, old school, has a place for sure. But we really want to amplify that. It's not what this is about. It's bringing in experts from different industries and having them bring in problems of practice from their industry, present that to our students, and have our students get opportunities to practice design thinking, innovative thinking, complex problem solving by combining all of the disciplines and working with that industry expert to give ideas, to pitch proposals for how they might solve the problem, and having that industry expert give them feedback on why the idea is a good one or why the idea is not going to work, and having them go back to the drawing board. So it kind of hits all of those things that we're trying to do. But what it also does is serve as a window into industries and exposure and access for our girls into areas they may not have seen themselves in. And to go, oh my gosh, I never thought about being a neurosurgeon. I've heard of that job, but I didn't really know if that was something I was interested in. But with this exposure and with this practice and opportunity, now I'm really interested. Just one little example, but I'm so excited about it. Okay. You guys have been so much fun to talk to. I think we could talk probably all day about the things happening in iCAST. We might need a part 2 of this one, but I wanted to move on into our rapid fire questions. So are you ready, guys?
Yes, we are.
We are ready.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
go.
Fire away.
Awesome. Megan, what song would you play on repeat? Because we will add it to our Spotify playlist.
Wonderful. So I probably have very similar music taste to a lot of our students.
Same.
And so, yeah. So I'm going to say Red by Taylor Swift is one that I really enjoy.
Oh, I fully endorse this, Megan. Does anyone do their Spotify wrap for the year and it tells you what age you
Yes.
are in what you've...
Embarrassingly low.
Yeah, what was yours, Isabella?
Mine was 23.
Oh, okay. Did you do it, Megan?
Didn't actually. I use a different music streaming platform.
I
so
was
didn't-
I was 26. I was a little older. I guess that tracks.
Oh, okay.
Did you do it, Mr.
71.
T?
Yeah, I did.
71? That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have been born in like 1939 or 41 or something like that. But
I
yeah,
love
I
it.
listen to too much bebop, so that's part of the
Oh
problem.
my gosh, that's wonderful. Well, according to our Wrapped, Isabella and I should have been born in 2010.
Yep.
Yeah.
Forever young.
Okay. Yeah, forever young. I love it. Okay, Coulter, what is a guilty pleasure you'll never give up?
That's easy. That's Nutella by the spoonful. And I do have a specific spoon that I prefer to use. It's a smaller
Naturally.
than a teaspoon, yes. It just feels better because it gets in the jar. It can get the bottom crevices. And also it lengthens the amount of time I get to sit with that jar and spoon feed myself. So
I think this might be the best answer we've gotten to this question so far. The level of specificity that you've given to the spoon is my personal favorite moment. And I just want to say that's how you know you're really an adult, when you've got a favorite spoon or a favorite spatula, or on the oven you have a favorite burner. You know, like, I really like to use this one. Yeah. Okay, great, Coulter. I'm not going to ask if you sanitize the spoon in between dips. It's not my business. So just... Isabella, if you could switch lives with one person for a day, who would it be?
I'm going to go for a nostalgia route. So I'd like to go back to grade 3, Isabella. So that was before we had, high-speed internet. And I still remember I had to do this research project, and I had to do it the old school way, which is carrying a bunch of books and just trying to decipher all of this information. And I felt like that learning experience kind of gave me the character, the resilience, the grit that I need now to solve all the emerging tech that is coming up at us at different direction all the time. So I would say grade 3 Isabella. I just wanted to kind of go back to her, and because I want to thank her for shaping who I am today.
Oh, I love that, Isabella. That's awesome. That is so great. And listen, with the rate of AI emerging and emerging technologies, maybe you can. Let's wait 5 years and see.
We'll see.
Mr. T, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
So, questions like this make me think about my teaching or teaching artifacts. And it was in my first, maybe might have been second, but first year of teaching, I had an observation that I had to do. Like a VP would come in and observe me in the classroom. And I had just started at this school, and there were several students that found solace in my lab. And after they had or eaten their lunch, I allowed them to come and hang out in the lab, and we would chat and we'd talk about certain things. And they saw me, preparing some things, some cue cards and such. And one of the students who really liked my teaching style, and we had a connection, he asked, what are you doing? And I said, well, I have an observation coming up in my classroom where they're going to evaluate me on how my teaching is going. And he kind of nodded and he said, oh, okay. And I'm sure he noticed the cue cards. So I went to a different part of the lab or the shop, and I came back and I had started the lesson. The VP was in there. I'm going through my cue cards. It's going okay. It's not going perfect, but it's going pretty good. And I got to like the third cue card, and I went to look at it, and it said in big letters, breathe. And then it had his initials and a smiley face. And it just,
it's the best.
it set me in, and it's almost an emotional story because I still have that cue card. And, I remember that, and it was something that resonated with me for a long time. So
what a beautiful way to close out this episode, Mr. T, because
it was the best advice. Yeah.
It's the best advice. And this is why we do this. This is why
it was from a student,
Of course it was. All the best things come from students. Yeah. And I love that. I think people who are in education, I love going home in the summer, and friends or family who are not in schools are thinking, oh my gosh, it must be so hard to work in schools with kids. I'm like, are you joking? This is the best job in the world. Yeah. There's a reason that we do this. There's a reason that we're on a podcast talking about why we want to influence the lives of these wonderful people. And it's because of stories just like that, Mr. T. So thank you for sharing that. You guys have been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. As anyone who's watching and sees our Christmas or holiday PJs knows, this is a very busy time of year in schools. Thank you for taking some time to talk with me and share your brilliance with our community. And to all of our listeners and anyone who's watching on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us for this episode. We are just so proud of this podcast, and it's so wonderful to see the reach and to hear people all over the world sending us messages and asking questions. It's been fantastic. If you've got a topic that you're hoping that we'll be talking about later on in the school year, feel free to send it our way. And if you're not already following, come on, guys, what are you doing with your lives? Follow us and join us for the next episodes. Thanks again, everyone, and we will see you very soon for another, hopefully, wonderful episode of the PrincipalED Podcast. Thanks again to our wonderful guests for joining us today. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
You.
Bye-bye.